Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the 1992 comedic slasher Dr. Giggles from director Manny Coto and starring the now unfortunately late Larry Drake. The news got around just the other day that Larry Drake had passed away. Very sad news. He was an extremely talented actor who had a very, very long career in both film and television. He will definitely be missed. Dr. Giggles is a movie that I've intended to talk about on this channel for the longest time. Several people have requested that I do a review of it. And it's unfortunate that I'm just getting around to doing that now, or the fact that, Mr. Drake's passing has kind of, spurred me on to want to do this review, or really not really a review, I would say just a discussion of Dr. Giggles, because I really like Dr. Giggles. I think Dr. Giggles from start to finish is just a thoroughly fun, entertaining film. I had the opportunity to meet Larry Drake a few years ago at a convention. He seemed like a very, very nice, warm, funny man. So I'm glad I had the opportunity to meet him, and I've loved several of his films. And Dr. Giggles, when I think of Larry Drake, I can't not think of Dr. Giggles. So I'm not going to give you guys like a plot synopsis of Dr. Giggles, because I'm going to assume that most of you guys out there have already seen the film, but I'll do one anyway, just for those of you who haven't. What you need to know about the plot for Dr. Giggles is that Larry Drake plays a psychotic doctor that they've nicknamed Dr. Giggles because he giggles a lot. He escapes from a mental institution. He goes back to his hometown and begins to perform all sorts of unneeded medical procedures on the town folk, and by the end of the film, he's pretty much wiped out a good portion of the town. This is a huge body count movie. I think he kills like 16, 17 people in this movie, which, I mean, Dr. Giggles gives Jason, Michael, Freddy, Leatherface, those guys a major run for their money. But what you really need to know about Dr. Giggles is that Dr. Giggles is the Larry Drake show. Larry Drake is so good as Dr. Giggles. And the story, everything about Dr. Giggles, it's kind of over the top. It's a very silly, fun, goofy, very much tongue-in-cheek kind of film. There's so many great one-liners in the movie that Larry Drake just delivers with such, oh my goodness, priestly nuance. This man is just, even though, I mean, I'm sure he had to laugh out loud numerous times reading this script, he just delivers those lines with such aplomb, with such, he's so professional. He's so good as Dr. Giggles that he overshadows everyone else in the movie. And the movie has a pretty good cast. Holly Marie Combs is in the movie. Glenn Quinn is in the film. I'm trying to think of the guy's name who plays Holly Marie Combs' father. He's a good actor. I'm horrible with names. The guy who played like the town cop who knows all about the Dr. Giggles legend, he gives a great performance. But all those performances are just totally overshadowed by Larry Drake as Dr. Giggles. And Dr. Giggles just has this, as I said in the beginning, huge body count. We've got tons and tons of kills in this movie. Most of them happening with these really over-the-top kind of surgical instruments and medical instruments that just make you never want to go to the doctor ever again. What Corbin Burnson and the dentist did for dentists, Dr. Giggles does for just doctors like times 10. Times 10. You've got everything in this movie. You've got unnecessary heart surgery. You've got a woman who gets her stomach pumped and then like this spinning blade down her throat that after he pumps out the food, he pumps out basically everything else from inside of her. There's a sequence where, and this is such a good sequence, where the young Dr. Giggles has been surgically implanted inside of his own dead mother. And he cuts himself out of the mother in this really weird, just kind of uncomfortable to watch moment that has some really nice practical effects in it, and it's just like I said, it's almost uncomfortable to watch. There's a great sequence that takes place inside a hall of mirrors at this fair. Really, really well done. This is actually a really well made film from Manny Coto. The cinematography is fantastic. The musical score from Brian May is fantastic. The movie looks like, it almost looks like a comic book come to life in a way. It just looks like a comic book has come to life. It's also got some real, it's really kind of mean-spirited too. But mean-spirited in this, the movie walks this very fine line between being comedic and but at the same time, actually being kind of freaky and scary. So the tone of and I think the balancing act is done really, really well. They do a really, really good job with that. So even like these really mean-spirited kills, like characters who are dying, who you're like, oh, well, why? They didn't deserve to die, and they're dying in these very horrific ways. You're kind of okay with it because it's that juggling act, and it's, overall the film is very comedic, like I said, very tongue-in-cheek, almost satirical, really, of these kinds of slasher movies, teen slasher movies. And it's done really well. I think the movie's really cleverly written as well. Like I said, lots of great one-liners in the movie. I love the one-liner where Larry Drake is like, time to do what doctors do best. And he pulls out a golf club. Great stuff. I love it at the end where he breaks the fourth wall and he looks directly at the camera and he's like, is there a doctor in the house? It's so cheesy, but it's so good and it's delivered so well. You can't not love it. Oh gosh, what else can we talk about with this film? I love it. I love Dr. Giggles. It's a great flick. I remember the first time I saw it way back years and years ago when it first came out on like Cinemax or HBO. And not really kind of getting it, I guess, being more of a guy who, watched a lot of like, mostly slasher movies, but the very comedic tongue-in-cheek elements I didn't quite grasp that first time around. But as I've watched the movie more and more over the years on DVD, I've really grown to love the movie. And make no mistake, this is the Larry Drake show. Larry Drake is so good as Dr. Giggles. Anybody else in that role just couldn't have pulled it off. And without that great of a performance as Dr. Giggles by Larry Drake, the movie just wouldn't hold up. The movie would not be good because, like I said, his performance is so good it almost overshadows everybody else in the movie. And there are some good performances in the film. Not all the characters are really that fleshed out or that great or that memorable or you really care too much about. Like I said, 16, 17 people got to die in this movie. There's not a lot of room for character development. A lot of people just show up, get off, and that's that. But yeah, I love the movie. Love the movie. It's a crying shame. It's almost criminal that this movie has not gotten a good quality Blu-ray release. I know it got some kind of like double feature Blu-ray with, what was that movie? Otis, I believe. Which I'm sure was a really poor quality Blu-ray and is long out of print at this point. And yeah, Dr. Giggles just absolutely deserves a quality Blu-ray release. And I certainly hope at some point it gets one. Because like I said, it's just a crime that we don't have a quality Blu-ray release of Dr. Giggles. So if you guys haven't seen Dr. Giggles, by all means, go out. You can get the DVD on probably anywhere. For super cheap. It's absolutely worth it. You're going to love Dr. Giggles. I can't imagine anyone not loving Dr. Giggles. Yeah. Yeah. I love Dr. Giggles. Love it. And, yeah, really unfortunate to hear about Larry Drake passing away, but, had a great career, lots of memorable performances, lots of great stuff, and, yeah, he'll definitely be missed. So for all you guys out there who had requested that I do a review of Dr. Giggles. I know Mr. BB86 had requested it. I want to say at least a couple of other people. I apologize if I don't remember your name. Had requested that I talk about Dr. Giggles. So Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope all you guys out there enjoyed the video as well. Yeah, as always, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Take care. And until next time, peace.